So good afternoon folks, I'm in the historic Kent town of Penshurst, just near Sevenoaks, and I apologise for all the wood cutting and aircraft going over because it's near the airport. So let's just get to it. Beautiful little Kentish town. These little pubs and the St John the Baptist Church. And this is why we're down here, because we've come down here for some Hawfinch. Hawfinch are doing really well for me in late 24, early 25. And I've come all this way, and it will probably be sod's law that, can I say that word on YouTube? Well, I'm going to find out if it says, you've been demonetized, sorry. So come down to this church. Hawfinch seem to love churches. Why is that? They obviously plant is it somebody said a birch tree, or am I completely messing that up? I know I'm going to be messing that up because it already doesn't sound right in my head. But anyway, there were reports of the Hawfinch down here for a week. And what I tend to do, because I don't like crowds, is leave them be. If people go down there in crowds, get their fill, and then if they're still there, I'll pop down and see them myself. So the reports right to today, it's been raining for several days, and this is the only time I've wanted to really come out, with a combination of low wind, because I want to use my tripod, and sunlight to get the better shots without the whiteout background. Funny enough, I think it was yesterday, there was a report in Mickleham in Dorking, that there were 300 Hawfinch spotted in the Mickleham Downs. Now I had a good look on the map and I couldn't quite tell what the downs were. It gave a location for them, but I'd never heard of them. And what I tend to do is I check Twitter and Facebook and see if anybody's mentioning them. I want to see photos, because if they say downs, their downs could be they've been spotted on a scope from a mile away, and then I'd have to traipse through mud and all that. So forget it. A churchyard, much easier. So I've left the Mickleham for now because I've seen no reports, no photos on Twitter, or X as it's now called. Let's get that correct, Mr. Elon Musk. And so I thought Penshurst the place. If I get really good photos here, I thought I'll go on to Mickleham. How about that? I might even do Bow Beach. But right now it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm still here. It's been a really good day. I've got a big roundup of birds. Nothing spectacularly good in terms of quality, but we started off, we got into the church and a couple of buzzards doing the rounds, a lighter morph one and a darker morph. Tried for video and fired off a couple of shots because I did see a third and I wanted to see if I could do an ID and separate the different ones from the underside marking. Couldn't quite, did I get the third one? I might have done. If I did, it'll come up on the screen. Now, when I came to the back of the church, can you see this area here? This is about the most shaded and the most quiet I'm going to get. You can hear the nuthatch because there are a lot of people over in the field, the sheep field, looking on the other side, which is where I last saw them earlier, but we'll get to that. They landed on this tree here and I got about 20 seconds of footage. Look at that, that's the closest I've definitely had before. And what I did, handheld first, I'm a bit annoyed with myself. I didn't fire off a couple of shots because that was close. The idea was I wanted to get on the tripod because it looked like it wasn't going anywhere and it could clearly see me. Ding dong, the bells, apologies. It could clearly see me, so I thought it's obviously really relaxed sitting there. So put the tripod up and it was gone, lost. Off in the trees on the left, this song thrush has been singing all day long. I'll just stop the video here and you can listen to what I'm listening to. If I can't get a video of the bird from now on and I don't film it, I'm going to put up the song. I'm going to record the audio for you. So nothing was happening for a little while and I went down to the little bridge, walked around, took some video to see what was going on around that area. And first thing I saw, grey heron sat on the bankside. And as I looked further out into the field, I initially saw 3 cormorants on a tree, but then there was a closer one. So I videoed the closer one. And I mean, it's always unusual to see it in the country. I mean, yeah, the river's there. But I did see them in Godmersham as well. So yeah, the cormorants get everywhere. It's not just big rivers like the Thames or big nature reserves. they are in the countryside as well. I've even seen a little egret way in the distance when I was having my lunch. But a big surprise was there were flocks of birds, small birds going up, and I knew they were going to be starlings, but there was another flock behind it that were a bit more spread out, and I could see they were thrushes of some type. And sure enough, mixed amongst the starlings on this tree were fieldfare, which I haven't seen for a little while. I believe it was Rainham I last saw them. So 4K crop mode on, I set myself up here on the road. You can see how far away I am. Started off with some handheld, made sure I'd got them for record, and then got to the 4K, waited for gusts in wind, bosh. Very nice quality. You can, for a minute there, I thought my eyes were deceiving me because I could see starlings. I went, oh, it's not fieldfare, it's starlings. No, there they are. There's a flock of maybe about a couple of dozen. So plenty happy with that. So yeah, we're really building a list for today already. When I came round the back of the church on the way through again, there was a blue tit making a call that hadn't got recorded yet. So I took a little bit of that for my upcoming, well, I say upcoming, it could be a few months before I get all my birds, but my upcoming bird song video. And then when I got back to the fence here, I saw some jumping around, birds jumping around on the right side, and sure enough, you can hear the song thrush. Hawfinch landed at the top of the tree, and I managed to, was right over there, and I was right over there, and I leaned on the fence for some stability. Got some decent video, and I've got a few shots of, I'll have to crop them. Yeah, blackbird. When I was standing there, I thought I heard a chaffinch, and I went, wait a minute, I could hear that slightly different call. That was definitely a greenfinch. So I went out to the path and looked up, and it was underneath, so it wasn't a great angle. But yeah, I think male greenfinch. And then as I was filming, the female dropped in, and I filmed a little bit of the call. And as I moved around, there were a couple more plotted up around it. So this is brilliant. I'm getting so many species today. And then on this tree, I did get some chaffinch. The female first, she sat still while I set my tripod up, and then the red of the male started hopping around. So excellent. And there always seems to be raptors in the distance, and this one didn't get too close, and even from a little dot in the sky, I just knew the way it was moving, it was going to be a red kite, less flapping than a buzzard, I think. And sure enough, red kite, pretty distant, but it was moving through some of the trees. I had to wait for a moment for it to emerge. But red kite, buzzard, no kestrels or sparrowhawks. I think there might have been a sparrowhawk, but don't quote me, because no video, then it didn't happen. But as I stood a bit longer, I got another red kite coming, and if you look at this, it was very brief, and it was the kind of thing I wish I'd got a photo of other than video. A plane flew up behind it in the opposite direction. Was the opposite direction the same? It might have been the same direction. I have to remember the video now. Anyway, but that would have been a cool shot, wouldn't it, if I would have got that as a still. I could hear the hawfinch in these trees here, but it's hard to explain what the call is like. It's kind of like weird, light chirping. It doesn't stand out. It's almost like background noise rather than a distinctive call. I mean, once I'd heard it for a little while, oh, okay, that must be them, because I saw movement in the trees. And while I was standing there, stings started to fly out, and I was quick with my photography. I had my settings for flight shots rather than video. And I managed to get, I mean, they're from underside, but they're well exposed, and they're going to be cropped a little bit of the hawfinch flying. And eventually they all, about 9, I think, counted coming out. I got a few shots off, a couple of them looking like bullets in the sky. It was fantastic, but not from the front, unfortunately. But flights of a hawfinch, that's great. I mean, I did get some flight shots the very first time in the Bramfield Church in Hartford. So that was a little while ago, but nothing's happening for a while here. They might have gone, they flew off down, when I was taking the pictures, they flew west, and they haven't been back since. So, but as I was looking in the tree, a bird about the size, the correct size, was sat still, but it turned out to be the nuthatch, which I'd seen jumping around and calling earlier, but it was just sat there. So I had plenty of time to set the tripod up, and just as I did, it had started having a little preen. Apologies for the branches, but I moved around back and forth, left and right, trying to get an angle on this thing, but it knew exactly where to sit to avoid getting a clear shot. And in that same tree, I thought it was a chiffchaff, very small, jumping around, flying out and grabbing bugs, but it was a goldcrest. Very, very brief. You can see the eye, it's definitely a goldcrest. So it's just a record just to know I've got it. You know what, the part of me thinks, do goldcrest actually jump out of the tree like that and come back down? Could there have been a chiffchaff as well? I don't know. And finally, just a couple of goldfinch to add on to the finch species today. So I think we're caught up until now, and I'm going to stick it out until close to sunset, because they might come back with all the noise going on over there with the cutting. It might scare the birds back over. I'm going to go for another little walk through the village, because I've seen fieldfare flying through. So, okay, now that's a wrap, folks. It's all over. You pretty much know when it's done. Everything's going quiet. There's a few bits and pieces going around. The jackdaws are all settling for roost. And we're up. Yeah, there was a song thrush giving it large. Yeah, I couldn't find it. People waiting in the field to see the hawfinch if they turned back up, but nothing. So, and I can't hear them, which is most important. So yeah, it was a good little day. I'm not going to fault at that. Good birds to see, good roundup. Lots of stuff I didn't photograph, but that I heard. Nothing of standard you could sell or anything like that. It's just going to be all record stuff. So if you remember, if it says there are 9, there are 300, well, how many other birds, it doesn't mean you're going to see them. It doesn't mean you're going to get good enough photographs. It's just that somebody's seen them and counted them, but don't mean it's going to be just right in front of you. Just bear that in mind next time if you read up that there's a sighting on bird guides or Twitter. Okay, see you on the next trip.